Fun in the sun comes with risk. The American Cancer Society reporting that 91,000 Americans will be diagnosed with melanoma this year alone. But Consumer Reports has released their top sunscreen rankings of 2018 to help keep you protected. Joining us is Dr. Mikhail Varshavski. Dr. Mike, let's go through some of these products. You're here to kind of walk us through the priciest to the, well, best value.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Consumer Reports does an amazing job rating products without bias. They purchase all of the products just like you and I would if they go into the store. They take the products, so they're not getting a special product sent to them. They're virtually bias-free, and I'm a fan. Actually, when I came to the United States in 1996, it was the first magazine I subscribed to, so I'm a big fan. Now, the top 4 sunblocks that they recommend are standing right here, and the way that they rated the sunblocks was basically judging, do they have very good coverage for both UVA and UVB rays, how it feels on your skin, because you know, you put on the sunblock sometimes and it's very sticky, leaves a greasy film, and the final one is how they smell, because some of them have a pleasant aroma, but some of them that are listed as unscented still have a plasticky, like a beach ball type of smell to them. So they found that these were the top 4 performing sunblocks, and actually if you look at the price ranges, they're pretty incredible, because one like this can go for as high as $30.
That's La Roche-Posay.
Yeah, dangerous to pronounce that one, though, I would say.
You know, I actually, when I read the notes last night, I thought that as well. Thank you for pointing it out, Dr. Mike.
Absolutely.
But what about the least expensive? Is that the Walmart one?
The least expensive is the Walmart one, and actually very high performing. And you notice that it's SPF 50. And I know that you had a really good question about that.
Yeah, I've read that anything over 30, and being Irish, like, I'm all over this, because this is mandatory. I put the SPF, the hat, under the umbrella.
Perfect.
But I've been doing like the 60s, really like these guys. Yeah. But does it do any good for me to go above 30 when I'm hitting 100?
Very common myth that you hear, that anything about above 30 is nonsense. Yeah. And while technically that fact is true, that if you apply it the perfect amount, reapply it as needed, don't go in water, yes, there is no difference between SPF 30 and 40. In real life, though, it is wiser to go for the highest SPF possible. First of all, Consumer Reports in their studies found that about 30% of the SPFs that were listed were not as high when they tested them. Okay. The second part about that is we often don't put on sunblock the right way. We don't cover ourselves with the right amount per square centimeter. We don't reapply as often as needed. So we need to get the highest coverage possible. Unless there's a striking difference, I would always say go for the highest SPF possible.
And you've got the water babies and the bullfrog.
Yeah, because that's the cute one.
Yeah, exactly. But it does work.
It does work. Absolutely
works. So regardless of sunscreen protection, how much is too much time in the sun for the average person?
Well, obviously, it's hard to say because it varies on a lot of conditions. Your genetics, your skin type, the color of your skin, the pigment obviously matters. But what I say to my patients, barring any extremes, 20 minutes in the sun. If you're going to be no more than that, it's okay to go without sunblock, because you do get some benefits from being out in the sun.
Well, that was what I wanted to ask you, because particularly there's been a shift in focus on the need for real natural vitamin D to keep you healthy when taking vitamin D supplements. You know, a lot of people are vitamin D deficient, and it's incredibly important for your immune system.
Yeah, spending time in the sun is important, but doing it so safely. So again, 20 minutes, if you're just going out for a brisk walk, not that important to put on. Again, barring some extreme circumstances that you're very susceptible to the sun. I mean, there's some conditions, some patients I have, that if they spend 5 minutes in the sun, they're going to get a sunburn. So there's people that are very susceptible, those with fair skin, those with many moles or freckles on their skin. So the average lifetime risk for someone to develop melanoma is 1 in 60.
But melanoma, we have to be clear, though, melanoma is the most serious of the skin cancers that you get. The vast majority are basal cell and squamous cell.
Yes.
And those are easily treatable and are not...
they can be disfiguring at times.
But not largely deadly.
Not largely deadly. Melanoma is the deadlier one because they're known to spread to very unusual places. So initially, melanoma may start on your arm, and then the cancer may spread to your eye or to your bone. They have a very unusual pattern for their spread. And like I was saying, the 1 in 60 lifetime risk actually doubles if you had 5 sunburns when you were a child or later in your life. Or if you have over 50 moles on your body, that number doubles as well.
But I'll say that the immunotherapy treatments, the most popular of those drugs being Opdivo and Keytruda, were originally developed to treat, or originally approved to treat, metastatic melanoma. So it is really, those drugs have really changed the way that's treated, and it's turned something that was deadly into something that's manageable.
Well, it's definitely manageable. It's still a deadly illness, but we've seen over the last few years the survival rates of those who have melanoma, the 5-year survival rates, go significantly up, and that's a big strive that we're doing in medicine.
What are these gummy sun dots and the protection what the heck is this?
The supplement that we're talking about here is called polypodium, and it's an extract from a fern plant that is supposed to protect you from the sun exposure. It's supposed to decrease your likelihood for getting a burn or decrease likelihood of developing a cancer. Now, as you know, I'm a skeptic. I've looked at the research here, and I find the research to be weak. It's done on small numbers of people. Oftentimes, the researchers involved have their own biases because they work for one of these companies. And I've personally spoken to one of my mentors who's a dermatologist, Dr. John Williams. He's a Harvard and Stanford trained dermatologist. And he said, at best, these things give you an SPF protection of 3 to 5. So I wouldn't say to waste your money on it.